team, close up.
Captain sir, attack team closed up sir.
Stand by to start attack on watchers.
Ready to fire sir.
Fire!
It's always high voltage action on the seas, in peacetime or in war. The Indian Navy moves eagle-eyed and ever alert, ready to swoop down, catch the enemy off guard. Take a look at India's coastline. It's so vast, it's open to threats from state-sponsored and non-state actors. But every inch of the 7,500 kilometers coastline is to be kept safe. The highly skilled maritime force guards it 24 hours a day. These ships surge ahead, always vigilant, and their frothing wake marks their commitment. The saga of the Indian Navy is a story of unique transformation. Rapid strides in technology matched by the ingenuity of those who man the machine.
It would be hard to imagine, when we turn the clock back 30 years, that one would have a navy of the type we have today, the best in the world. And I can only imagine what it would be for the future as technology comes in and we have even more capable platforms. And it's not only the platforms that are changing, even the man behind the machine is changing tremendously.
The journey of the Indian Navy shows its grit and determination. An all-out effort to fulfill the country's maritime destiny, growing into a 56,000-strong fighting force, the fifth largest in the world. The build-up of the naval prowess counterbalances the threats that a burgeoning economy faces. The Indian economy is booming. 90% of India's commerce is by sea. Presently, 60% of our seaborne trade comes westwards from Africa, Europe, the United States, and the Middle East. At least 40% of the trade volumes move across the Asia-Pacific region. Asia is the key driver of world economy now, and nearly $260 billion worth of oil passes through the Indian Ocean. Not just India, the 56 littoral states and hinterland countries are all rich in natural resources and on the threshold of development. They thrive on sea trade. Sea lanes of the Indian Ocean have become the lifeblood of the country's economy. They all remain safe under the watchful eyes of the Indian Navy. The guardians of the sea ensure that India's maritime interests remain secure. India's heartland is like an arrow, jutting out into the center of the Indian Ocean. This gives India a pivotal maritime position. Under the law of the seas, India has special rights over the exploration and use of marine resources in its exclusive economic zone. This zone is spread over 2 million square kilometers, almost two-thirds of India's land area. It's a daunting task to secure the vital sea lanes and the exclusive economic zone. But no enemy will dare to enter these waters. The Indian Navy, ever vigilant, is always on the prowl. The enemy is always lurking, waiting for a chance to pounce. No wonder the Indian Navy was designated as the overall maritime authority, responsible for coastal and offshore security. The Indian Navy's state-of-the-art ships safeguard all vital installations. For the multifaceted force, such challenges are nothing new. It relies on sustained operations aided by seamless networking to achieve such goals.
Amongst the armed services, this is the only service which operates not only in 3 dimensions, which is on the surface of the sea, in the air and underwater, but there's a 4th dimension today also, which is the electromagnetic medium. And if we have to be successful in war, we need to dominate all these 4 medium.
The quest is on. It's a race for supremacy in all areas of combat. The Indian Navy is on track, safeguarding India's maritime interests on the high seas along the vast coastline. The Indian Navy is making its strike capabilities razor sharp, inducting new ships, submarines, fighter aircrafts, and helicopters. This helps it maintain primacy in the region. It's based on the strong belief, surveillance is better, not reaction. The guiding philosophy is run deep, run silent, run long. 3 commands take care of India's naval formations: the Western Naval Command, the Eastern Naval Command, and the Southern Naval Command. Their tactical leadership rests with the naval headquarters in New Delhi. To meet the changing threat perceptions, the Indian Navy has evolved a joint services approach. The Andaman and Nicobar Unified Tri-Service Command is entrusted with this new responsibility. The Western Naval Command guards the Western Front and the areas to its south.
As you are all aware, our roles and responsibilities at sea have increased manifold and become very challenging in the recent times. In addition to undertaking fleet deployments and exercises at sea for maintaining our combat readiness towards meeting conventional threats, we are in addition undertaking deployments regularly and tasking for low-intensity maritime operations, for coastal security, and for anti-piracy operations.
Emergency Bravo, appreciate enemy sniper in area.
Assume AMD state 2. Assume AMD state 2. Enemy sniper in area.
Unknown aircraft on bearing 215.
15 kilo closing.
Forward. Forward primary. Aft secondary. Engage.
Its strike capability is backed by its highly effective air force. With the new fighter aircraft MiG-29K joining its ranks, the command's firepower has increased tremendously. Anti-aircraft beyond visual range missiles, guided anti-ship missiles, smart guided bombs and rockets make the fighter aircraft a force multiplier. The Navy's firepower is now more potent than ever. Indian Navy's strike capabilities and dominance in the region is aided to a large extent by its aircraft carrier, the legendary INS Virat. With a displacement of 28,700 tons, it is one of the largest vessels in the Indian Navy.
Mission briefing for attack on enemy fighter establishments at 1700 hour.
The Eastern Naval Command is ever ready to snub any aggressive move on India's eastern front. A composite force with multifarious capabilities, the Eastern Fleet is a silent, reassuring presence. It provides security to the vital installations, resources, and protects the economic interests in the exclusive economic zone. Guided missile destroyers, frigates, missile corvettes, and anti-submarine vessels add to its firepower. Whatever be the threat, it is always ready to give a knockout blow. The Indian Navy's range of combat platforms is indeed lethal.
We have today platforms which extend from aircraft carriers to surface ships to submarines. We have the most modern aircraft in terms of surveillance requirements. We would also be having the most modern ships in terms of the capabilities to dominate all these 3 dimensions. And of course, there's a very vibrant submarine construction program, which in due course will also include the nuclear submarine, which is currently under trials.
From submarines to warships and fighter aircraft, it's the men behind the machines that give a cutting edge to the Indian Navy. They are complemented by a group of highly motivated personnel the elite Special Forces. To observe a Special Forces personnel in action is inspirational. To be one is exceptional. The battle-ready naval warriors get their grounding from the best in the business. The Southern Naval Command imparts nerves of steel to the new entrants. They get well versed in all facets of surface, subsurface and aviation techniques. Life in the Navy is not just about a job. The on-the-job training opens up exciting opportunities. Name the challenge. You get trained to meet it. The Southern Command gives the men in white specialized training, whether it is about naval missile or gunnery system. To face the emerging challenges, the need of the hour is to outthink the enemy. Andaman and Nicobar, the picturesque group of islands, is home to the unified Tri-Service Command. Close to Southeast Asia, the command acts as the country's frontier in the region. India's forward presence in the eastern Indian Ocean is enabled by its archipelago. With its 572 islands, Andaman and Nicobar present a good setting for amphibious warfare operations. Its functioning shows how integration can be achieved for a joint services approach to meet any challenge. It's the well-trained personnel that keep the Indian Navy in a state of constant alertness.
Makeshift, 0.2 cables, port of track, on call 078.
They are trained to handle any modern equipment across all platforms. Bigger the challenge, better the preparedness.
There was a time when you had young school children out of matriculation who joined and finished college during the military training. Now we are going to be turning out engineers across the board to man the ship's platform, the aircraft and the submarines. So it's not only the platforms that would be modernized, we would have a completely different person also manning it.
This is the cradle of Indian Navy's future, where men are turned into leaders. The picturesque Erimala Naval Academy. The training gets you battle-ready with all the modern inputs. The state-of-the-art training facilities ensure world-class learning.
Both engines repeated dead slow head, sir. Very good.
It's on its way to becoming the largest training base of its kind in Asia. A 4-year B.Tech program in electronics and communications and mechanical engineering is on at the academy. Not just academics, the all-round development of the officers is also taken care of. Life here is not all work and no play. The mantra is work hard, play hard. When it comes to work culture, a sense of fairness prevails in the Indian Navy. In 2009, it created history, enlisting 2 women officers as observers on board its fleet of maritime patrol aircraft. Now, more than 250 short service commissioned women officers serve in select branches. The Indian Navy doesn't rest even in peacetime. It is ever ready to thwart any external threat from the seas so that the economic activities go on at a fast pace. It is a silent, reassuring presence. Preventing conflict at sea is as important as being ready and prepared. The Navy goes the extra mile, protecting international trade.
Today I do not have to emphasize to my countrymen that India is a maritime nation. One just has to look at the expanse of the Indian Ocean region to see the vast area it covers, commencing from the Gulf in the west to Malacca Straits in the east, right down to Antarctica, where we also have our interests. We, along with the world community, would like to see this stable, and there are great expectations of the Indian Navy to contribute in this regard. Most prominently, the anti-piracy patrols that we are carrying out in the Gulf. Since we started them towards the end of 2008, we have escorted over 1,200 ships, of which 150 were Indian flag ships.
Sea terror is on the rise, with militants mounting attacks from the waters. As the country is a large importer of energy, the Indian Navy has to ensure that the sea lanes are safe. The Indian Navy also contributes to international maritime security in a big way. Indian warships patrol the pirate-infested Gulf of Aden off the Somalian coast.
Threat neutralized. Mission completed.
India has always demonstrated it is committed to collective good in the international waters. The Indian Navy engages with major maritime powers in joint naval exercises. Bilateral exercises with the navies of the US, UK, Russia, France, Japan, Singapore, Brazil, and South Africa, to name a few, give the Indian Navy a cutting edge. The Indian Navy has always participated in them with professionalism. Moreover, to enhance our footprint in the vital sea lanes, the Indian Navy has entered into bilateral treaties with friendly navies to replenish the ships on the seas. A world-class power now has a world-class navy. As the geostrategic situation in the Indian Ocean region undergoes rapid changes, the Indian Navy's mandate is clear-cut: to safeguard the country's maritime interests, detect potential threats, and nip them in the bud. The Navy's vision is crystal clear, providing matching maritime security for a galloping economy. Live up to the nation's aspirations, follow a well-charted growth plan. Proudly carrying the colors of a resilient economy, the Indian Navy surges ahead.